So before I start this review, I just want to quickly apologize the fact that I haven't got the Quakes versus Sporting KC review up yet at the time of this recording, and it's been a little bit delayed because just like earlier, that game where things have kind of gone bonkers, the same can go with my internet speed, which has really struggled and kind of are a reaction to pretty much a lot of Quakes fans today, which was a very disappointing kind of result despite how hard fought that they had in this game. Now that being said, despite the fact that, it was kind of disappointing seeing the Quakes just fell short at the end of the day, I was really hoping Minnesota can kind of get up for it and that the Loons can do their job against the Colorado Rapids, and potentially heading into the next game against SKC on the road, they can of course avenge the Quakes. Well, at least one part of that has already been accomplished, because in the end, the Loons did get a 3-0 win for the Rapids and getting their first ever playoff win. And well, yes, on the scoreline, and I'm pretty sure what the media is going to say, the fact that this was a relatively comfortable win for the Loons. If you actually watch the entire game, yeah, there was definitely some tense moment. And I'm not going to lie, this was kind of one of those games where both teams had chances to potentially put the ball into the back of the net. One of those teams were able to take their chances and the other didn't. And therefore, that is exactly what the result of this game actually turns out. Now, obviously, before I talk about what happened in this game, I was very eager to see what the starting 11 is going to be for Minnesota in this game, because I've been hearing all week about the fact that the Loons was going to get most of their international player back, and also going to get a couple of players that's been on the IR list back in the starting 11 in this game, and that of course was the case, as it seemed like all the Loons player that was on international duty is in the starting 11 except Romain Métanire, and all the players that is on the IR list was either on the starting 11 or on the bench. The only exception, obviously, is going to be Almeria, his season is done with a season-ending injury. Also, Tyler Miller, as we pretty much know that for the entire season that he's done. And obviously, Iko Parr, which we still don't know when exactly he's going to be available. And Ozzy Alonso was on the bench in this game, and it was great to see that he did came off the bench and at least played for 9 minutes in this game. And if we can get Ozzy Alonso back healthy for this playoff run, then yeah, this definitely changed my perception of the fact that I was very concerned heading into the playoffs, where coming into this game we were going to be very short-handed, and it turns out, thanks to kind of MLS decided to do their best in terms of providing charter flight to all those players that is on the international duty, and at least the injury gods show us some mercy and welcoming back all these players that was on the IR list. I definitely have more confidence now that the Loons can definitely make a deep playoff run. But early on, at least in the first 10 minutes of the game, it was the Rapids, the one that were by far the better team, and kind of shows you why they were considered a dark horse heading into the playoffs. Because 4 minutes into the game, they almost made it 1-0, but Dane Sinclair denied Acosta. After the Loons, I thought, was off to a great start. Dane Sinclair was definitely on his game in this one, and you could argue he probably is going to be the man of the match, because he made some very big save in this game to able to keep the Loons in this one. But as I said, I thought Minnesota was off to a very slow start, and that Colorado was just dominating in the first 10 minutes, and that the Loons was just giving up way too much space to the Rapids on the flank, and that I was very concerned that we were going to go 1-0 down if we don't fix that issue. But instead, it was actually Minnesota, the one that went 1-0 up, and it would be Kevin Molino that scored from Reynoso, and that was really the first real attack we had in this game, and just a goal that was against the run of plays, and it won't be the last time we would see this happen in this game. And I also thought that goal really changed how the first half and the momentum went. And the old cliche about how a goal can really change the momentum of a game, this was an example of it, because when Molino scored the opening goal for Minnesota, the momentum completely swung into the Loons' favor, and they were the one that were looking dangerous and were looking for more goals, and they probably should have done it in the 34th minute when Reynoso basically had an empty net to shoot. And, you know, as great as Reynoso has been to this Loons team and has just been one of the most dangerous number 10 player in the league, the biggest Achilles heel and the biggest frustration I do still have Reynoso is his finishing, because he had an empty net to shoot at this one from about 10 yards out, and somehow he hits the post out of that one, and that absolutely should have been 2-0, especially with the quality that Reynoso is. But yeah, Loons, they had all the momentum after the goal, as I said. Robin Lod almost made it 2-0 just 2 minutes later when his curler just missed wide from 17 yards out, and if that actually was on target, no way in the world Yarbrough was going to save that one, because he was just completely froze and was praying that one went wide of the post, and thankfully for him, it just went wide of that left side of the post, but it did not miss by much. But as much as Minnesota had a lot of chances to double that lead, we had to have time with the Loons having a 1-0 advantage. And in the second half, yeah, we saw something similar to what we saw in the first half, which is Colorado immediately took that momentum back to their side. Dibassy cleared Bassett shot off the line in the 47th minute before Benezet shot went just wide as Colorado was really pushing for the equalizer. Gregoric then make a goal-saving tackle as the ball was about to be tapped in by one of the Rapids player, and I was just hoping, let's just try to weather the storm and try to regroup, because if this kind of pressure is going to continue to be the case for the Rapids, sooner or later they're going to get the equalizer. But just like what we saw in the first half, just as if you thought the Rapids was going to get that opening goal, or in this case the equalizer after all the pressure, the Loons score a goal against the run of play, and this time it's Robin Lod that scores the goal against the run of play from Reynoso. Reynoso obviously is another player that I think he's going to definitely get man of the match award, because he basically was on the assist chart of all three of these goals, and once again show such a quality he has in terms of pulling the string for this Loons attack. And despite the fact that, you know, Minnesota did get that second goal, and the only thing that is kind of a little bit different is that eventually Colorado did started to continue to try to push for a goal back, and that the only reason why they weren't able to do it isn't just because of the fact that their finishing was poor in this game, but I thought their final ball was also poor. I mean, there's been times where they had the spaces to operate on this Minnesota defense, but they just don't play that final ball correctly, and unable to carve out some more golden opportunity that they had in this game. Now, in the 66th minute, Molino, he probably should have scored this third goal as he went through on goal here, but unfortunately he blasted over the bar before Kei Kamara actually came on into this game. Now, there's always this discussion coming into this game of whether or not if Kei Kamara is actually going to be playing in this game against his former team, because you know about that whole gentleman agreement that the Rapids and Minnesota was agree, where if Minnesota does play the Rapids, the Loons basically promise the Rapids that they're not going to put Kei Kamara in the game. Well, apparently I think that agreement does not include the playoffs, because the Loons still put Kei Kamara in this game, and I was actually very eager to see if Kei Kamara does score in this game. What is he going to do? Is he going to do his no celebration because of the fact that he scored against his former team? But it's also going to be kind of a good talking point to see how, you know, apparently the gentleman agreement doesn't include in the playoffs, and that Colorado basically would want to redo what they were thinking about selling him off a couple of months ago, when they probably could have still had him in the team. Now, in the 77th minute, Yarbrough once again robbed Molino, who, again, Molino, he could have easily had at least he could have easily had a hat-trick in this game if he was just a little bit more clinical. But fortunately, he was clinical in this goal that he scored just 2 minutes later, as he scores from Jan Gregoric and Reynoso to make it 3-0 to pretty much put this game out of anybody's doubt and kind of out of hand for the Rapids. Yarbrough then robbed former teammate Kamara, and I thought we almost saw the moment where I was talking about what happened if Kai Kamara does score against his former team, what kind of headline that's going to produce, but Yarbrough wasn't allowing that to happen. Before Dane Sinclair made a great save to rob Galvan to preserve the Loons a clean sheet, and then Rubio 2 minutes later would blast a shot high, which just kind of sums up Colorado night, where again, this is a game where both teams had chances to put the ball into the back end net, but one team was being wasteful with their chances, that is the Colorado Rapids, and one team just did enough in terms of putting their chances away, that is Minnesota, and therefore that's why they got the 3-0 victory in this one. As the shots in this one, 16 shots compared to 18 that the Rapids had, 8 shots on goal compared to 7 that the Rapids had, 4 shots off target compared to 6 that the Rapids had, 4 shots that was blocked compared to 5 that the Rapids had. And possession wise, 50% possession for both of these teams, and at the end of the day, I mean, if you're the Rapids, I think they're going to be very disappointing coming into this game, and that, or coming out of this game, in that there's so many what-if situation in this game, that what if they would have put away those chances of how things could have turned out differently in this game. But unfortunately, they are now eliminated from the playoffs. And for Minnesota, they move on into the playoffs, and also, as I said, they get their first ever playoff win in franchise history. But now the next game is going to be even much tougher than what we face against the Rapids, because the next game is where the Loons are going to be facing against SKC, and they're going to have to go to the House of Horror known as Children's Mercy Park, and if they want to move on to the semifinal, they need to win there for the very first time. So yeah, that should be a very interesting matchup, and of course we'll talk about that matchup in the upcoming days. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this game? And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.